Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're diving deep into one of my favourite plant groups, Philodendrons. In this video we'll talk about their fascinating history and natural environment, how to care for them. I'll show you my personal collection and wrap up with why they're perfect for plant lovers of all levels. Let's get started. The name Philodendron comes from the Greek word philo, meaning love, and dendron meaning tree. They're native to the tropical rainforests of Central and South America, and some species are found in the Caribbean. These plants are primarily epiphytic, meaning they grow on other plants or trees without harming them. In their natural environment, they climb trees using their aerial roots to seek sunlight within the dense rainforest canopy. Some species are hemiepiphytes, starting their life in soil and later rainforest conditions are perfect for philodendrons: high humidity, indirect light filtering through the tree canopy, and plenty of warmth. This adaptability to changing environments is one reason why they're so hardy and popular as houseplants. Did you also know that philodendrons were some of the first tropical plants introduced to Europe in the 1600s? Explorers brought them back as exotic specimens, sparking a fascination with tropical plants that continues to this day.
In the early 1700s, French botanist Charles Plumier first documented the genus, naming it Philodendron. His work was part of a broader effort to classify and catalogue the flora of the Americas. By the late 18th and 19th centuries, Austrian botanist Heinrich Wilhelm Schott, a leading authority on the Araceae family, to which philodendrons belong, further refined the taxonomy of the genus. During the Victorian era, mid-19th century, philodendrons became symbols of wealth and status. The wealthy elite housed them in glass conservatories, which were fashionable architectural additions designed to showcase exotic plants. As tropical plants, philodendrons thrived in these humid, controlled environments, solidifying their reputation as luxurious, exotic decor. After World War II, there was a significant rise in houseplant popularity, particularly in the United States and Europe. Philodendrons became common in homes and offices due to their adaptability, low maintenance, and lush appearance. NASA's Clean Air study in the 1980s also identified philodendrons as effective air purifiers. They were shown to remove toxins such as formaldehyde, benzene, and carbon monoxide, further boosting their appeal as indoor plants.
One of the best things about philodendrons is how easy they are to take care for, and that makes them a favourite for beginners and seasoned plant collectors alike. And here's what they need: it's really basic. So in terms of the lighting, they thrive in bright indirect light, mimicking the dappled sunlight of their rainforest home. Now, I would always say avoid the direct harsh sunlight. So even though mine, I've got, I think, 2 philodendrons on this table here, there is a sort of southeast window here, but I do have a screen over the window to kind of filter it. But I wouldn't have all this philodendron here if I did not. Let's talk about watering now. Philodendrons do like moist soil, but they hate sitting in water, just like many other genuses. Now, the golden rule is, like many plants, to let the top inch of soil dry out before watering again. Whether you use the moisture meter or the finger method, apply this principle accordingly. I personally let mine nearly dry out completely, and I haven't had a problem. I will show you probably the longest living philodendron in my collection later on in the video, and I will show you how healthy it is from just giving it water when it's completely dry. Humidity. So the philos love humidity but are also adaptable. So people do say misting or a humidifier nearby can help them, especially if you live in a drier climate. I don't use any humidifiers. I've stopped misting recently. I'll probably do another video on that if it's something I feel is relevant later on down the line. But yeah, I find in my climate, bearing in mind I'm in the south of England, which is quite coastal, so it is rarely humid. It is fairly humid, sorry, where I am. So that might have contribution to why my philodendrons seem to thrive without the aid or the assistance of a humidifier or misting. I don't even have a pebble tray on this table here. So yeah, I think it's, down to where you live and your environment in your home. Soil and potting, just like with many rainforest plants, they do love a well draining potting mix, ideally one that mimics the forest floor. Conventionally, a blend of peat, perlite and bark seems to be what would provide adequate drainage for a philodendron. In terms of the fertilizing, I suppose this is adaptable to your own preferences, because some people only feed during growing seasons up until, say, late autumn. Me personally, I've adopted the all year round feeding, which maybe is another video that I might do. But I tend to micro feed in the winter and sort of feed every other feed during the growing season. But yeah, that's down to your own preferences again. A lot of people do things differently when it comes to feeding and fertilizing, in terms of what they choose to use, how much, and the frequency. So coming back to feeding to you guys. As a sort of general rule, I would say feed during the growing season, during spring and summer, and that will be monthly with a balanced houseplant fertilizer. So in terms of what I said previously on the soil and potting section, follow the general guidelines. I'd say don't listen to me, because I don't want you feeding your plants through the winter and ending up with fertilizer burn or your collection or part of your collection in plant heaven. So yeah, general rule of thumb, growing season, spring and summer, once a month with a balanced houseplant fertilizer, whichever one is your go-to. Pruning and maintenance. Now with a philodendron, I think it's quite simple. I'd say trim the leggy growth or any damaged leaves to keep the plant looking tidy. And they are quite forgiving, which I will talk about an experience that I've had with one of my philodendrons, which shows how hardy they are. And yeah, proof that they are very resilient as a genus and can survive pretty much anything within reason. So this resilience and adaptability makes them nearly foolproof. You don't have to stress if you miss a watering or if your indoor conditions aren't top-notch and perfect. You've probably heard me refer to my collection of philodendrons and parts of it during the video so far. So this is the bit I've been excited about. Now I will say I don't have anything super variegated, nothing super rare at the moment. My collection is being built up again, because I did start again around 5 months ago. So I've got around 25 plus plants here, maybe 30 maximum within the last 4 months. But within the philodendrons, I have, let's think. I think I only have one left from my original collection when I started 2 years ago in 2022. Coming up to 3 years, probably next year, mid 2025. So out of the collection that I will show you, there is only one that is left from the previous collection, and everything else has pretty much been bought this year. And I'll just sort of go through a brief background information about them and how I care for them, stories about them, where they were bought and so forth. So yeah, let's get into it. My collection of philodendrons. So the first one in my collection, and I'm hoping you can see this okay, is my Philodendron Narrow Escape, also known as the Philodendron Jungle Boogie, or the Tiger Tooth Philodendron, I believe. And I think in some, or on some sites, they will label this as the Shark Tooth Philodendron. Now, this one is moderately rare. I think originally I loved the dramatic, almost elongated, narrow and deeply lobed leaves, as you can see. I'll try and get a close up if that helps. Amazing leaves, very unique. Yeah, I just thought that serrated look wasn't common, and I think that's what drew me to this plant in the shop. And this was one of the first philodendrons that I bought. I think this was the first philodendron that I did buy, and that was around 2.5 years ago. And it's been through a bit of a war, this plant. I bought it from a local plant shop for around, I think it was £15 at the time. It was in a small 12cm pot, and sort of grew it out for a year. I didn't really look after it, I neglected it a bit. It had a couple of falls, it had another fall, but then I think that fall wasn't too negative because now it's sort of grown 3 new shoots. So it's got like a multiple, it's sort of branching out on a multiple basis now, which is amazing. I've also put it on a plank, and yeah, it seems to be taken to the plank nicely. Yeah, with watering, as I say, with philodendrons, I let this one go pretty dry, not completely dry to bone dry. I'd say like halfway, almost nearly drying out, and there's that tiny bit of moisture left, and then I'll water again. And following that method, I've never had any problems with this philodendron. I'd say also, in terms of pests, I've never had one pest issue with this particular philodendron, not with any philodendrons to be honest, that I've got so far. But this one I've had for 2 years. I've had no signs of any spider mite. I've had no little bugs. Yeah, no fungal problems. I think just all round, really, really easy to look after plant, and I don't know why people are not talking about the Philodendron Jungle Boogie. So yeah, that's that one. Oh yeah, and lighting with this one sits, well, it's been in many different places actually. It first started off, I think, in this corner here, which is the southeast-ish facing window. And then I moved it over to the other side of the room, which is sort of the northwest-ish window. And I think while it was over there, it wasn't doing too well. And I think you'll know because the leaves weren't so chunky as when it was growing on this side. And they did kind of shrink. And you can see this leaf here, it does look quite skinny compared to this lower leaf here. This one just looks really chunky. Look at that one. Really chunky leaf. So yeah, if you get chunky leaves coming out like this, you know that the plant is happy and it's getting enough light. And I think sort of the skinny leaves will be an indication to show you that the plant is not getting enough light. So yeah, I'll be interested to see how this one continues to grow up the plank. I will extend the plank accordingly when that time needs to happen. But yeah, this has been on the plank for about a month now, and already I can see some aerial roots coming out, which will attach to the plank. And yeah, I advise people to go for planks over moss poles. I'm not putting moss poles down or saying that they're not good in any way, but personally, I like the planks because it's the closest thing to mimicking a tree in the rainforest. So yeah, that's the Philodendron Jungle Boogie. So next, I've got my Philodendron scandens, also known as the heartleaf philodendron, or Latin name Hederaceum. And this is like pretty much a bog standard trailing, hanging, vining philodendron, but it's actually a climber. So the reason why these probably do look quite leggy a lot of the time is because they're looking for something to attach to. As you can see, there are loads of aerial roots at each internode. So they're drying out, which means that they found nothing, no moisture. But yeah, this is, I think, one of my favourite philodendrons. I've not had this one long. I've had this for about, I think, just over a month. And it was like half this size when I got it. But it's really, really grown long, man. Like, and for me, I think what attracted me to this was I could just tell before knowing much about them that it's a quick grower and it just provides that lush green, like jungle look immediately. And yeah, so far this has just had rainwater because I feed all my plants rainwater. It's had a little bit of food every watering because I do feed through the winter, and I'm not experiencing any fertilizer burn whatsoever. No issues with this one, to be fair. But yeah, I really like these. I really do like these. So that's my Philodendron Hederaceum. I do believe these are easy to propagate. I think I will be propagating this one because I will like to have this growing in other areas of the flat, as I am in a flat, 1 bedroom, so space is quite limited, but I think this will fill up some gaps nicely. I could see this, you know, hanging in the bathroom, which will probably thrive even better with the humidity in there, I imagine. But yeah, there's just like tons and tons of new shoots on this. Just make sure the light's on it a bit better. Like, if I just lift up a vine here, like some new shoots there. There's another new one there, there's a new one there. It's just new growth everywhere, and this is during like the winter. So yeah, the Philodendron scandens. Don't think you can go wrong with this one. Like with all the others, I let it go really dry. Lighting, this one hangs up on a branch. I don't know if you've seen any of my Instagram videos, but I am on Instagram at Lethal Plants. So that's lethal_plants. And you'll see my little branch, which is a silver birch tree branch that I've installed into a wooden beam, where I have this hanging with 2 epipremnums, and there will be some other plants growing, well, added to that branch accordingly. Yeah, beautiful. Beauty, beauty, beauty. Just lush. So the next one I wanted to show was the Philodendron Black Cardinal. This one I do believe is a hybrid. I don't know what it is a hybrid of. Maybe it's got some red Congo in there or something along those lines. I don't know. But this one was actually a gift. So it wasn't a philodendron that I went and bought, but it would be something that I would probably buy if I saw, because you don't really see many sort of burgundy, glossy plants like this. And there are some banana varieties. I can't think of one. There's like a canna variety that has this sort of burgundy vibe, which I did sort of like during my teenage years, I remember. But yeah, I am drawn to this burgundy look, and just seeing these burgundy petals is quite amazing, like a deep sort of cherry red. I think when this grows out, will add that quick touch of tropical exoticness immediately. And I have seen these just saw a fungus gnat. I have applied nematodes recently to all of my plants, so I do think the population has reduced what I have had, but I did see one flying, which I don't know if it came from the black cardinal pot, but I have seen a reduction in numbers. So if anybody has the same problem, and I'm not scared to speak about the fungus gnat thing, I didn't have a lot, but there was quite a few flying around, and it was starting to aggravate me. So I researched, and it seemed like the nematodes route was the most effective and environmentally safe method to implement. And so yeah, I'm waiting now to see after the 7-day mark, which is tomorrow, how we are. But I have seen a reduction, so I don't know if they're actually alive and kicking and eating away at the eggs. But I did try to catch that one down there, but anyway, come back to that another time. So yeah, with this one, it was a gift, as I say. Yeah, I think it's a really amazing plant. I've had this in I do have this one over in the sort of dimmer end of the room, which is the northwest side, and it seems to be loving it. But with this one, when it came originally, I can't remember what online retailer it was from, and I wouldn't want to say it to make them look bad, but this was drowning in really poor drainage soil, and the substrate was pretty much rotting the root system. And the person who bought me this as a gift had one as well, and you know, between us we decided we should repot the two of them, and her one started to come back, which has kind of not done too well. But we used the Soil Ninja mix. I think this one is the Aroid mix, I might be wrong, which is quite chunky. I see pieces of orchid bark, perlite, and some peat. But this mix seems to have done it well straight away. And the soft sort of sludginess on the leaves disappeared, and they started to harden. And my one's actually doubled in size since we done the repot, which was about now, I reckon, maybe around a month and a half ago. So yeah, this one is definitely on the way to growing out and scaling, and I'd be really interested to see how this one looks when it does start to mature, if I still have it thriving. But I think now for the last 2 weeks, this thing has been going for it. And I don't know if you can see there, let's turn that light around, there is signs of one tiny shoot coming out there as well, which suggests to me that yeah, it will grow out. So yeah, that's the Philodendron black cardinal, also known as the Philodendron urubescens, I think. Right, so another one I have in the collection here, which many of you have, quite a popular philodendron, which is used as mainly, I see, a hanging or trailing type plant. But these are supposed to climb, because in the wild, this would climb in the rainforest, just like many of the other philodendrons, it being an epiphyte. But yeah, I really like the Philodendron micans. If that is the right pronunciation, because I have heard some people say the mican, so I'm not sure what is the right pronunciation. But I think for me it was the velvety sort of two-tone look that it had. It kind of reminded me, which a lot of people probably do say, of the melanochrysum, and it did have sort of an anthurium look to it as well, I thought. But yeah, I think these really add some sort of really dark sort of forest nighttime vibes, to any room. And yeah, there's just something mysterious I find about them. I'm not sure if they're a hybrid or if they are native. I might put some notes down in the bottom of the screen. But yeah, so far, I'm not sure if this one is really liking the conditions that I'm providing. As I say, this one was doing really bad in the soil that it was in. It was really poor drainage as well, just like the Black Cardinal. But I repotted it straight away. So I'm kind of like monitoring it. But since repotting it, I have seen like a new shoot popping up here. And there does seem to be like some swelling at the internodes where I did chop off some of the bad growth that it had. But yeah, I love the mycans. I think it's a brilliant plant. That looks like a newish leaf there. And yeah, I've been sort of watering this one when it goes really dry. I think they really kind of tell you when they want watering and kind of curl up like an epipremnum. Yeah, that's the mycans. As I say, at the moment, not much to look at, but I'll probably do an update on this one in a few months and see how it's getting on, if it does survive through this cold season. But yeah, I really like this one, and I'm sure many of you out there do too. Right, so I'm going to be a bit careful with this one. This is my Philodendron campii, but the species or cultivar is Lynette, I believe, on this one. I do believe this one is a native to Brazil, if I remember. So it's definitely a Central Southern American rainforest type Philodendron. And when I saw this one, because I don't really see many people talking about this one, I haven't seen many pictures on Instagram, I haven't really seen much videos or many videos about this. There are a few, but they're mainly in, I think, Indonesia. But I think a lot of people should bring this plant into their collection. These leaves, look at these leaves, they're massive, and these are not even full size. I'll put down probably at the bottom of the screen what these get to maximum. And I have seen quite a large mature example of this Philodendron campii Lynette, what it can get to, and they do look pretty large, because I am quite into my large leaf plants. And yeah, I got this one for about £18 around, I think around the 4 or 5 week mark ago. I think it was around the same time I purchased the mycans. And yeah, well, I just really like this. It just it almost reminded me of like palm tree vibes. And I do like the way like the leaves sort of grow with that sort of arch sort of shape, almost like similar. I'm not saying it's like, but it's almost got bird of paradise esque vibes going on. Oh, I've just noticed a tiny little shoot here. I think maybe. But yeah, this one I let it go completely dry before I water. It is in a fairly nice chunky mix currently, which was the nursery mix, which I was surprised because I can see perlite in there as well. This is kind of like one of the few that I didn't need to repot that I purchased. There is some brown on the leaf here, which it came with. I'm not sure if that was overwatering, but there is yellow on it as well. So I'm not sure if that is fungal, but I am monitoring this plant closely. But so far, it does look quite healthy, and it's not feeling like there's any rotting going on or anything. So I don't think that is fungal. I do think that is something to do with bad conditions or bad watering cycle, wherever it came from, or if it was living. Before I purchased it. But yeah, no, this is a lovely plant. I'll maybe just get a close up of these leaves, man. Really sort of prominent, deep veins. Yeah, and what I like about this one, it's a self-heading Philodendron. so it doesn't produce aerial roots. It will just grow upright on its own accord. I do have a little bit of a bamboo stick here just to help guide it and keep it solidified in the soil, because it did come a little bit unstable originally when I purchased it, and I was worried that the main stem would sort of break at the root system, because it does seem like it needs to be slightly buried deeper underneath the substrate. But no, it seems like it's starting to solidify with the support of the bamboo. And yeah, I think that is a really nice philodendron, and I really hope that I can nurture this one to full maturity, and then maybe give you guys an update in a few months, maybe sort of mid-spring, end of spring, going into the main growing season, which I am excited for, by the way, guys. I cannot wait for the growing season to come. But to be fair, with the help of the lights, and I don't have any fancy grow lights or anything fancy, I've just got something cheap that I found on Amazon, which is LED, and it seems to be serving the purpose during these dim times of low light. But yeah, I would definitely recommend this one if you love philodendrons or you're thinking about getting into philodendron collecting. This one is definitely a rare one. You don't really see this one often. And yeah, I'm going to look after this with all my heart. I'm not going to lie, this is one of my favourite philodendrons out of all of them. And I think that is all of them in my collection. This one is living here right now on this table. So yeah, that's my philodendron collection. And as I said, none of my philodendrons are super rare or crazy variegated, but they're special to me because of how much joy they bring to my home and help me for my day-to-day well-being. And you know, I suppose they play a big role in my mental health as well. So yeah, that's the philodendrons that I own. I know some of you may have some of them. So why are philodendrons perfect? So personally, I think they're a good choice for both beginners and collectors. And first of all, I think it's down to their versatility. They thrive in a variety of environments, whether you live in a bright, sunny apartment or a slightly darker space. With some sunlight coming through, you'll be able to have 1, 2, or many philodendrons within your collection at home. They are resilient. There's no doubt about that. Philodendrons are resilient. They bounce back from neglect like a champ. You forget to water them, no problem. I'm not saying, you know, create a drought within the pot that they live in, but yeah, they'll bounce back through many different situations of neglect. And you know, low humidity, they'll probably thrive as well, because in my flat here, I haven't got a meter, but I'm not imagining aesthetic appeal. Such a big amount of variety, different shapes, sizes, colours. There's definitely a philodendron for everyone, almost akin to the monstera. You know, you get trailing vines, upright bushy. They definitely add beauty and life to any space and help to create that jungle feel if that's what you're going for. Because I know many of us, like myself personally, I'm trying to create that indoor jungle feel eventually. And without the philodendrons, I don't think that would be able to happen. Personally, I love philodendrons because they're reliable, adaptable, and endlessly rewarding. Each plant has its own personality, and watching them grow and thrive, for me, just feels so satisfying. And yeah, I'd recommend them to any beginner and collectors who haven't yet bought a philodendron. So that wraps up this video. I hope you enjoyed learning about the history and care of philodendrons. seeing my collection and discovering why they're such an amazing plant to own. If you're a beginner looking for a starter plant or a collector looking to expand your jungle, you really can't go wrong with philodendrons. So please let me know in the comments which philodendron is your favourite, or if you have any care tips to share. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell for more plant content. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.